Visiting Rapa Nui, or Easter Island, can be a life-changing experience if you look at it through a historical lens. Exploring the island's history reveals chilling details of how a once prosperous and sustainable community, known for building moais and practicing spirituality, abandoned their ancestors' spiritual traditions and toppled their gods. This led to total chaos, and they filled the resulting vacuum with their own cult. This is not the full story, as it also involves bloodshed, exploitation, depopulation, and even cannabis. Unfortunately, this tiny island and its residents had to endure their spiritual crisis alone, without any outside help. Easter Island, about the size of Washington, D.C., can be explored on foot within a day, offering a condensed yet rich landscape to discover. The island was created by lava flow from 3 major and many minor volcanic eruptions over 3 million years. Radiocarbon dating in 2007 and genetic analysis suggest that Polynesian inhabitants from Tonga or nearby Polynesian islands arrived around 1100 to 1200 AD in catamaran-like canoes, bringing essential supplies such as seeds and animals. Despite challenges, including the loss of pigs during the voyage, they established themselves on Rapa Nui, relying on chickens, plants, and seeds for sustenance. Unlike other Polynesian islands, Easter Island presented unique challenges to its inhabitants due to the absence of freshwater streams. Instead, settlers had to rely on freshwater reservoirs within volcanic craters or rainwater collection for their daily needs, including agriculture. However, the crops they brought, such as bananas and taro, demanded significant water for cultivation. Limited protein sources, consisting mainly of domesticated chickens and fish, were available. Unlike Hawaii, Easter Island lacked extensive coral reefs, resulting in limited fishing opportunities. Moreover, the absence of land mammals hindered the crafting of fish hooks, leading to the use of human bones for this purpose. However, Easter Island boasted an abundance of giant palm trees. According to an estimate, there were 16 million, some towering up to 100 feet. These trees served as crucial resources, providing food, shelter, materials for construction, and tools, thereby playing an indispensable role in sustaining life on the island. As Polynesians migrated across the Pacific, they also brought their spiritual beliefs, such as Make God and the existence of spirits and an afterlife. However, their beliefs and other traditions changed over time. One of the most recognizable aspects of Rapa Nui culture is the construction of moai, enormous statues made to hold their deceased ancestors' spirits, conveying their supernatural power, or mana, to their descendants. Between the 12th and 17th centuries, over 900 statues were carved from volcanic rock. Though this practice reflects a common spiritual concept in many societies worldwide, honoring the past and safeguarding the land are central themes. The techniques used to carve the volcanic rock are still debated. However, some speculate that the Polynesians learned from indigenous people on Rapa Nui due to their limited experience with volcanic landscapes. This points to the question of whether the early Polynesians ever came across South Americans who knew the use of such volcanic rocks. Regardless of their origins, the moai statues are impressive symbols of Rapa Nui culture and craftsmanship, showcasing both spiritual reverence and artistic mastery. During times of abundance, art flourished, and people could focus on satisfying their spiritual needs. The creation of the massive moai statues on Easter Island is a testament to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which suggests that fulfilling basic physiological needs is essential before focusing on higher needs, such as self-actualization. The giant palm trees on Easter Island disappeared due to human activity. The Polynesian rats introduced by early settlers consumed the palm nuts, preventing the trees from regenerating. The absence of natural predators allowed the rat population to thrive unchecked, which worsened the environmental devastation caused by deforestation. This ultimately led to the extinction of the palm trees. All of the original landbird species became extinct, and the 25 different seabird species that once nested there were wiped out due to the towering palm trees' extinction. The disappearance of these trees devastated the ecosystem and impacted the cultural and societal dynamics of the Rapa Nui people. This led to social conflict and uprise, which forced them to seek shelter underground within the lava caves. They crafted unique stone architecture, to endure the environment's challenges, and attempted to make the island sustainable by growing crops inside the caves. Such efforts were not enough to feed thousands of people. Famine spread rapidly, and new statues began to depict the horrors of hunger and desperation, with the depiction of bellies protruding, rib cages extended, and faces twisted in pain and hunger, unlike calm Moais of the past. They abandoned and toppled their ancestors' traditional Moais. A quarry can be seen at Rapa Nui, the workshop where they carved Moais. Still, many incomplete Moais can be seen buried half into the soil, and some are still intact on the crater wall used to carve Moais. The largest Moai you can see in the image was ready to be transported. But both the means and will were gone. The inhabitants' belief in their ancestors' tradition was gone. This spiritual crisis created a vacuum, leading to anarchy and chaos. Trapped without the means to escape the social unrest, they resorted to fighting amongst themselves with no wood or trees to build canoes and flee. Despite the temperate weather above ground, they opted for the safety and protection offered by the caves. Archaeologists discovered chilling evidence of human activity inside these caves, including walls, fireplaces, and human bones. One cave, named Anakai Tangata, is the Cave of the Cannibals, illustrates this dark chapter in Rapanui's history. With no other food sources available, cannibalism became the grim reality for those struggling to survive. Some individuals living underground broke this taboo and began killing and consuming other humans. Building walls at the cave entrances was a significant undertaking designed to provide security and concealment. These walls were strategically constructed to let inhabitants enter the lava tubes discreetly. Across the island, various escape routes and camouflaged entrances were established. Inside the caves, artifacts such as basalt weapons, including razor-sharp spearheads made of black, shiny volcanic rock, were found. Interestingly, there was no widespread evidence of large-scale warfare or conflicts. These weapons were likely used for combat, suggesting a shift from organized society to chaos, especially following the cessation of Moai construction. According to some oral traditions, battles ensued where the defeated fled to caverns, only to be captured and consumed by the victors. Well, who were those victors? This was when a new cult under the priest's guidance emerged. The Birdman cult and the victor were the champions who won the Birdman race. To address the issue of who would hold the prime spot for sustenance, a democratic solution emerged in the form of the Birdman race. What was that race? Competitors, always men, known as Hopu, descended Orongo's steep cliff and used bundles of reeds to float and swim to the nearby Motu Nui islet, approximately 2 kilometers away from mainland Rapa Nui. They would run across treacherous waters and escape sharks to reach Motu Nui, an islet where they awaited the arrival of the Manutara birds. They carried the precious Manutara egg, wrapped in a piece of cloth tied around their forehead to keep their hands free while swimming. It is also an account that the newly appointed Birdman selected some people for the sacrifice, and there is a hint that cannibalism was also performed during the feasting rituals. The people appointed by the new Birdman for sacrification often became the cause of wars. Cannibal feasts may have been held during the time of the Birdman cult, with bones from both animals and humans found in these caves. The presence of a carved ceremonial skull further underscores the solemnity and significance of this site. Additionally, the cave lies near the start of trails leading to Rano Kau and Orongo, adding to its historical and cultural importance. Another chilling aspect is the Polynesians' fascination with sooty terns is understandable, given their unique characteristics, such as their ability to soar over the ocean without an oily film on their wings. Unlike other seabirds, they employed clever tactics rather than swimming to catch prey. They attack other birds, causing them to drop their prey. Swiftly, the sooty tern dives to catch the falling fish before it touches the water, ensuring a successful hunt. The resilience of the sooty birds in such an environment likely inspired admiration and reverence among the islanders, further cementing their importance in Polynesian culture. These migratory birds were revered as messengers embodying divinity, soul, omen, and food resources, thus becoming totems for the people. This reverence played a pivotal role in the origin of the Birdman cult. During that perilous time, they abandoned Moais and toppled the ones erected by their ancestors. The spiritual traditions associated with Moais transformed into a crude Birdman race cult. This shift involves manipulating power dynamics, exploiting followers, and imposing rigid ideas. A priest replaced the king as the owner of a new cultish religion, typical of a cultish scenario. Orongo, a small village, was the center of the Birdman cult between the 18th and mid-19th centuries, where priests and clan chiefs gathered to observe the Tangata Manu ritual. Visitors can see the surviving restored, 3 stone houses facing the Motu Nui and Motu Ilti, 2 tiny islands close to Rapa Nui. These houses were built explicitly for the priest, who continuously prayed and chanted for the contestants' success. To make this cult more ritualistic, after every successful expedition, a petroglyph was carved on the rock inside one of the caves. There are 185 motifs associated. This ritual continued. These petroglyphs are buried under the tall grass. They are diverse in size, from 1 motif to 12-meter panels of petroglyphs. They were neglected until 1981, when the work on understanding these petroglyphs was started. Researchers found carvings on rocks inside the caves and scattered all over Rapa Nui. The Birdman motif changed over time from simplified to more complex. It was not just the physical appearance of the Birdman motif that became complex, but the thought processes behind the one who created them as well. The later staged motifs represent something related to fertility by depicting a half man and half bird, and motifs related to genitals, probably during extreme population decline and yearning for an increase in population. According to early European accounts, they were mostly men. They did not see children and women, and human bones scattered all over the island. That points to extreme social upheaval and misery, that people did not even bury their deceased. The misery of the Rapanuis did not end there. The arrival of Dutch, Spanish, and other European immigrants brought disease and Christianity to the island, which had devastating consequences for the indigenous population. As a result, many of the stories and traditions passed down by the Rapanuis were lost. According to an estimate, there were about 10,000 Rapanuis at its peak, which was later reduced to 3,000 when the first Dutch arrived in 1722, probably due to the Rapa Nui not being able to sustain that many population anymore. In the early 1900s, the indigenous population dwindled to only 101 individuals. Today, the indigenous community is predominantly Christian and of mixed race. No single family carries 100% indigenous DNA, but they still hold on to their ancient traditions. This is partly because they receive benefits in exchange for the sacrifices they make, and partly as a form of compensation. Today, the island is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and its ancient mysteries and enduring legacy draw visitors from around the world. The island's history illustrates the inevitability of change and the need for resilience in the face of evolving circumstances. As the world grapples with environmental challenges and geopolitical transformations, the lessons from Rapa Nui resonate. Nothing remains permanent, and change is inevitable.